This week, we're going way below the surface, hundreds, even thousands of feet down, where you never know what might come up. Rick, I hope you brought enough line.
And maybe I brought an electric reel. We're deep dropping around this week, so let's send them down on the Florida Insider Fishing Report, which it starts now.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Welcome back to the Florida Insider Fishing Report. We're excited to have a live studio audience tonight, as you can hear, and we're taking everybody way down with this week's deep drop theme, right, Rick?
You're absolutely right. And you know, the cool part about deep dropping, which I'm really excited about Jimbo being here, is the variation in what would be considered deep dropping.
Right.
He's gonna really let us in on the secrets.
Lots of variety going on.
Absolutely.
But before we start dropping, let's say hello to our guest at the CCA Workbench, Captain Jimbo Thomas. Jimbo, be honest, how are your deep drop skills?
It's great to be back. We are going deep, way over our heads.
Oh, yeah.
That's
well,
not
that's
hard
not hard
for me.
for
Rick.
Rick. Wait, what?
I beat you to it.
Darn it, that wasn't even scripted. That's just straight from the brain.
Because we're matching.
I know. All right, from 1,500 feet down to the mangrove shorelines, there's a lot of water to cover in our Phillips Southwest region this week. And here's Captain Ron Houston helping us get started.
Well, you know, Rick and Bree, that's becoming more common here in the Phillips Southwest region, especially with bigger boats, more fuel capacity, and, you know, guys are running 3 to 5 motors. Recommended you start in depths of about 400 feet, typically out to about 1,500 feet. And when they're fishing those depths, these guys are fishing for your snowy groupers, your yellow edge groupers, you know, tile fish, goldens and blue lines, the infamous Kitty Mitchell, tiles, and guys are catching swordfish. Now, day and night is recommended, either way, electric reels, heavy-duty bent butt rods, 5 to 8 pounds of weight. Guys are also telling me 0 stretch braided line, and most of the time they're using multi-hook chicken rigs with and without lights. Now, if you're using lights, you want to attach them to the top of the leaders, and also, while doing this, it's very important to be on the bottom. Now, recently, the Goldens have been biting past 1,000 feet, and Captain's telling me the California chicken rigs are getting it done. And I got a prime example of a nice Kitty Mitchell caught recently while fishing with Davis Olson. If you look at that picture, he's got a lot of weight there.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, he sure does. That's awesome, man. All right, tell me about the snappers, Bubba.
So still on the offshore side, the red snappers. Now, you know, there's been a consistent bite in the 200-foot range, and you can start as shallow as 120 feet, even a little shallower. But like I try to tell you every week, the bigger fish are out towards that 200-foot range, but you can catch limits, but they're going to be smaller in the shallower depths. Further away you go out, bigger the fish are going to be. Now, reports guys have been catching them on are live pinfish, and truly an assorted of cut baits. It really doesn't matter. Also, artificial slow pitch jigs. Now, a tip that I got from one of the captains was, once you start catching fish, mark the spot and try to stay in the same area, looking for the similar situation you see on your bottom finder, especially if you don't want to make that run after 200 feet of water. And I've got some fish this week with good limits caught while fishing with Captain Davis Olson out of Naples.
Nice. Let's go inshore, Ronnie.
So the redfish, fish in the northern end of the region right now from Bull and Turtle Bay, deeper troughs and potholes of the shorelines, especially on your higher tides. Now, wherever you catch them on these higher tides, once that tide starts to fall out and get low, fish potholes, troughs, and edges in the area. Those fish are moving to some of those areas till the water comes back in. But to the south, it's really been improving, and theoretically, year after year, August, September, the bite really starts to pick up for redfish all through the region. Now, Round Key down to the Everglades, the Outer Gulf Islands, you're catching them right now, you're going to find them in numbers. Now, in both areas, north and south, guys are catching them on cut shrimp, ladyfish, live pinfish, also chumming fish, like I said, in both areas, but also in both areas on the artificial side, gold spoons, your Berkeley J. Walker 90s, good colors have been bone or mullet, Berkeley Gulf shrimp, especially when the tide gets high, 8 to quarter ounce jig heads, thrown up under the bushes, and that also depends on the depth. I've got a picture this week of a nice overslot redfish that was caught while chumming live pilchards by Chris Proom out of Marco Island. So the last species is going to be the snook. Marco Island down to the Everglades, fishing beaches and outer Gulf Islands. But I can tell you, I've seen a good nighttime bite throughout the whole region, especially in the Cape Coral up to Punta Gorda area, and concentrating on intercoastal docks and seawalls. The key for me has been the shadow lines. The bigger fish have been on the shadow lines. The fish up in the docks with the lights, they spook real easy. But the bite has also been best. I've got to have good current. I've noticed with that water slacking off, bites off. Artificials at night, you can use the Bass Assassin 4-inch sea shads, especially the darker colors, in and out of the lights, especially along the shadow or in the shadow. The darker color is going to form a silhouette, or you can use soft plastic shrimp imitations. Now, during the day, your top water walk the dog lures, your Berkeley stick shads, they make a variety of colors, match the hatch for what's in the area, coming live pilchards, and also using live pinfish. And this week's picture is a picture of a nice snook caught while fishing with Captain Derek Daffin down the Everglades. This is the size fish they're catching right now. Snook season's just around the corner, so guys, time to get out, start scouting, listen to what you tell you, and throw the baits we recommend.
Thank you so much for starting us off this week, Ronnie. Here are the visit Punta Gorda, Inglewood Beach hotspots from the Southwest region. Ronnie says inshore, tarpon fish the moving water along the Peace and Caloosahatchee River. Due to the rains, the areas of light wind. Watch for the fish rolling. And then offshore, the red grouper, 75 to 120 feet, using your favorite cut baits on the bottom.
All right, well, speaking of the bottom, we're diving way down in the Casa Vieja Southeast region this week, from deep reef snappers and grouper to swordfish living more than 1,000 feet below. So, Captain AB, you're ready to drop, and I want to thank you for taking Leo and I fishing last week. It was amazing and so much fun.
Well, happy birthday to Leo. I had so much fun with you guys. I'm still stoked about that trip. And thank you for the introduction. Good evening, Captain Ricky, Jimbo, and all of our loyal insiders in the studio and at home. I want to immerse ourselves down in the silent ocean world for some deep, dark secrets. I highly recommend getting a cordless Penn Fathom like I have for all your deep drop needs to start for your reel. Minus daytime sword fishing, then you're going to want that Penn Hooker 80. Now, you want to fill your cordless Fathom with 65-pound Berkeley X9 braid, and you're all set. Here in the Southeast, we've been catching vermilion and yellow eye snappers on natural bottom and wrecks in 150 to 350 feet of water with multiple hook rigs on 60-pound leaders, so a little bit lighter for those. If you want snow groupers, then slide out deeper from 350 to 550 feet of water. Look for the really small pieces of bottom, small wrecks, little ledges. And then for the black belly rosefish, you want to look for pinnacles and sharp relief in 900 to 1,100 feet of water, way out there. For the snows and black belly rosefish, you want to fish multiple hook rigs also, but you want to up that leader to 80 to 100-pound mono. You're fishing with more lead when you're deeper, and those fish are going to be a little rougher on the tackle when you're deeper. For the snappers, the groupers, and the rosefish, though, bonita chunks and squid are the baits of choice. The daytime sword guys have been catching them too, in 1,650 to 1,850 feet of water on rig bonita tacos, bonita bellies, and dolphin bellies lately. Make sure you add a water-activated LED light or a glow bead on your deep drop rigs, and always make sure you have enough weight to hold the bottom. Pictured here is one of my most memorable deep drop catches of my lifetime with my best buddy, Captain Kevin Cote. Just me and him, we hooked that sword 1,600 feet, and we fought him for 4.5 hours. And that big mama sword ate a bonita taco that's a fillet shaved down with a purple skirt on the edge of it.
Nice. All right, tell us what else is happening there, bud.
Now dropping back in a little shallower with me and Bree and Colin and Leo, mutton snappers are getting even more fired up this week. We've been catching good numbers of 3 to 6 pounders. We've been fishing live pilchards and dead value on the bottom, pinned to long 40-pound fluorocarbon leaders. Those leaders are over 30 feet long. Focus on natural bottom in 90 to 150 feet. Muttons will spawn here for the next few weeks, and the best bite should be late in the evenings if my Fisherman's Almanac is any indicator. Check out this photo with our own team members, Bree and her 5-year-old son now, Leo. They were out with me this week. They put the hammer down on some muttons and mangroves with ultralight Penn spin tackle. Bree was fishing against Colin. She absolutely put him to shame. Sorry, Colin, I had to do that to you.
That's not nice. He's throwing arms right
Colin's
now.
a good fisherman, though. Colin's a good angler.
Colin's in the studio. He's throwing his hands in the air.
I would hope so. Now, inshore, up on a sandy flats of South Biscayne Bay at the south end of our region, Captain Wiley Bird says to fish the edge of the flats using a dollar coin-sized crab right now. He says look for him cruising or tailing the edge of the flat. Throw the crab close in front of the permit. Hold on tight. I like to have a 7.5-foot Fenwick rod for the long permit cast and an Eagle Claw bait saver hook. And it keeps that crab sitting pretty on that hook when you cast it. I like a 4-foot, 40-pound fluorocarbon casting leader. And pictured here is Wiley Berg's angler with a beautiful flats permit he sent me this week that was captured following that same program. And way up at the north end of the region, I want to talk about snook. My buddy Captain Pat Smith is still harassing a big snook. He says big threadfin herring has been his bait of choice. We fish a 7-foot medium action Fenwick rod with a 20-pound braid mainline, 40-pound fluoro casting leader for these big snook. And my favorite alternative to these live herring right now is a Berkeley Juke 100 in black gold. Work the juke with a twitchy retrieve, make sure it slashes side to side like it was built to do, and make sure it looks like it's getting away from those big snook when they nose up to the bait. I talked to Captain Pat earlier. He sent me this photo. He said it was a dead morning until the tide changed. He said I had a fish a little bit extra time, but as soon as the water started moving, Ira scored this big snook at the buzzard. And I want to thank you guys so much for having me back this week. I hope everyone still makes time for fishing with school starting back up. It's 5 p.m. I'm here in the Rocky Mountains, about 10,000 feet above sea level. I'm going to take a hike with my family, and I hope you guys have an excellent weekend of fishing.
AB, I got a question now that you went with the tornado, little Leo. You know,
Yes.
I understand he had a little deal in the live well, and what was the quote that you heard from the back of the boat as the pilchers were going down the bottom of the live well?
Oh my gosh. Look, first of all, I want to call him Hurricane Leo from now on. That's his name.
Okay.
But, you know, I mean, I'm not going to say anything bad. The kid is so cute. First of all, I could never say a bad word about him. But if you want to keep a kid like Hurricane Leo entertained, for all of our insiders out there, give him a bucket full of live bait to keep him out of that live well.
Well, I understand that he looked down there and all the water's running out the live well, which he recognized was a problem. And instead of saying JC, he said, cheese and crackers.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
I'm going to use his little cheese and crackers when I get frustrated from now on. That's going to be my new deal. Thank
Good.
you so much for enjoying them. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Casa Vieja Southeast region. He says, dock lights, they are producing snook, juvenile tarpon, and mangrove snappers with Berkeley minnow taters in the 2.5-inch and 3-inch to match the small glass minnows that are in the lights. And then offshore, fish the deep reef for big mangroves, muttons, and yellowtails. Fish live pilchers, Berkeley gulp strips on knocker rigs, anchor and chum with dead pilchers.
we had so many cute and funny moments, but don't worry, it'll all be on YouTube very, very soon at the Captain Rick Murphy YouTube channel from our day of fishing with Hurricane Leo. All right, coming up, we're talking to Jimbo Thomas. He's back at the CCA workbench for rigs and techniques with Deep Drop on the menu. What do you think is going to happen over there, guys? Let's see about your electrics.
Jimbo, we're going to dissect the water column from 300 to the bottom. I'm really excited. What do you got for me?
We've got all kinds of good stuff to go catch snappers, groupers, swordfish, fill up the freezer.
Ever
You
wonder
name
why
it.
they put a light after 1,000 feet? He's going to answer that question too.
Just
Be
some
right back.
grocery shopping. All right, then we're off to the Black Oak LED Keys region with Captain Rick Murphy, Ridge Murphy. So stay with us and we'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick. Feel everything. ACR. Less search, more rescue. Penn. Let the battle begin. Casa del Golfo. Catch trophy fish and ride waves in our beachfront paradise. Berkeley ProSpec Chrome. Lithium battery power. Powering your lifestyle. And Daiquiri Deck. Food, drinks, friends.
Lift off, Ricky, lift off. Wow, dude. That's cool, man. There he is, Ricky. Sailfish, baby. How about that?
Now we're fishing in the Pacific, boys.
We're pool fishing in Argentina, Jack. Well, we're here at the CCA workbench and we're talking about deep dropping. I brought in my man Jimbo Thomas from the Thomas Flyer. Jimbo, what are we gonna need to do a little deep dropping? What do you think's the right combo?
Deep dropping is going to be in deep water, so you are going to want to use an electric reel, unless you want to bulk up really quick, because you're going to use a lot of weight to get down, and you're going to need some help reeling them big fish up.
And in most cases, we're using multiple hook rigs?
So typically we're using a big chicken rig. You can use anywhere from 2 to 10 hooks, depending on what you're fishing for, with your electric reel, and depending on where you're fishing, you need a lot of weight or a little weight or a super huge amount of weight.
All right, so let's go ahead and, I think it's really important for everybody to understand that deep dropping can start as shallow as what depth, you think?
So depending on where you're fishing, everybody's got a different opinion of what's deep.
Right.
Anywhere from about 350 feet on out is what I consider deep dropping, or anywhere that I would want to use an electric reel. We hand wind in 300 feet, so anywhere from about 350 on out, electric reel fishing. So
right.
That's deep dropping.
So if we're fishing from 300 to 800, is there a certain species that we should gear up for?
So so different depths are going to hold different species. So from that 300 to 800, you might have some vermilion snappers, beeliners, some yellow eyes possibly, tilefish, snowy groupers.
Okay.
Once you get out deeper in that, you might see some tilefish, some black-bellied rosefish, scorpionfish they're also called, and also some of those groupers. And then as you get even deeper, you have
8 to 1500.
8 to 1500. You've got queen snappers, some yellow eyes out that deep. You can get your swordfish out in 2,000, 1,500 to 2,000 feet, and some big groupers, wreck fish out in that depth also.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the rig. Oh, you already got one open, son of a
So
gun.
I've got
Sorry about that.
I've got a 2-hook rig open just so we don't hook ourselves. But this is a chicken rig basically, a deep drop rig. Your weight goes on one end, and the other end goes up to your rod tip. So you got your weight on one end. You can use up to 8 or 10 hooks. Depending on what we're fishing for, you're going to want heavier leader, lighter leader. If you're going for vermilions, you don't need a 100-pound leader. You don't need 60, 80 hooks. So you want to just match your tackle to what species you're fishing for.
Now, these glow, obviously, in the dark, correct? Are we going to tip these? It's not a sabiki rig.
No,
we're going to tip it with some bait, right?
This isn't a lure. We're going to bait. So squid is a great bait. The problem is it gets bit off real easily. So I like to use bonita, cut bonita strips.
And why is that?
Because it's tough and it stays on the hook and it'll withstand multiple bites without getting stripped. So when you're down there a long ways, you don't want to lose all your bait and come up empty-handed. So you want something that they're going to keep chewing on. Now, if they bite it and get hooked right away, it doesn't matter. But so squid and bonita is the bait of choice. And we also put a light on the deeper depths. We're going to use a light. These lights, once they hit the water, they're activated by the water, and you can use all different. They got green, blue, red. I don't think it matters what color you're using, but a light helps.
But why, Bub? It's dark down there. The fish aren't.
It is dark down there, but if you've watched National Geographic, you see these fish that light up and have fluorescence or luminescence to attract prey, but that's also attracting the prey that's going to eat them.
Oh.
So you put a light on there and they see this light from who knows how far, and they come up and they're like, oh, look, there's a hook with a piece of squid on it. Let's eat it.
So what I like about what I've heard so far, really impressive, is it doesn't matter whether in the Atlantic or the Gulf, this rig is going to work. The only thing that's going to change would be potentially your weight.
Your weight. So in the Gulf, you don't have current like we are dealing with on the East Coast. So you could get away using 2 pounds of weight, 3 pounds of weight, 4 pounds of weight. I know I've swordfished in the Gulf, and we're dropping in 1,200 feet with 4 pounds. In the Gulf Stream on the East Coast, forget it. You need 10 pounds or even heavier weights, depending on what that Gulf Stream's doing from one day to the next.
You think Ridge has hit the bottom with this a couple
So
of times?
definitely, either he's hitting you over the head with this, or it's hitting some hard bottom. If you're dropping in mud, it's not going to do that. So he's fishing on some hard bottom. I'm going to have to find that spot.
So obviously, if we're going to release some of these fish, we're going to have to vent them. We're going to use a sequelizer to help get them back down.
Correct.
Some of those groupers, if it's you catch a grouper in out of season, then
Which
obviously we've
happens
got to
all
let
the
it go.
time.
So you're going to use a sequelizer, going to preset the depth, right? And
Right.
then we would also could use
You
a
can-
venting tool as
Correct.
well. What are we forgetting? That's it?
Going out and catching them.
Okay. One last question, quickly. How do you like to eat them when you bring them in?
I like to cook them in the frying pan, and then I throw my steak on the grill. Oh. So I eat the steak.
So you got the steak and Jane eats the
Correct.
fried fish.
He can catch them, he just doesn't like to eat them, and that's fine.
It's a good thing he doesn't feel that way about lobsters and stone crabs.
Yes, it's a good thing. Jimbo, I'm
glad
coming to
you're
your house
here.
for dinner. You catch the fish and I'll eat them. All right, time to head south to the Black Oak LED Keys region, where there's never just one way to spend a day on the water, especially this time of year. So let's check in with Captain Ridge Murphy and see what he's got for us. Hey, Ridge.
You know, when it comes to deep dropping, the only way to do it, in my opinion, is one of two ways. Rule number one, there has to be 2 rods, and rule number 2, it's always a competition. Here in the Black Oak LED region, deep dropping is a fun way to catch all different kinds of fish, from a variety of snappers and groupers to barrelfish and all kinds of creatures of the deep. Some guys will hand crank in some of the shallower spots, but it's more common to go out there with electric reels and drop R&R chicken rigs or deep drop rigs with 4 to 8 pounds of lead and 400 to 1,700 feet of water. You want to make sure to have a variety of different color LP disco lights because it is dark down there. Different species will hold in different depths. You want to make sure to keep an eye on your bottom machine, looking for bait in different structures from pinnacles, hills, valleys, plateaus, and etc. Pay close attention to where on that structure that you're marking your fish, and this will help you reset successfully. For bait, guys will use squid, bonita strips, chunks of cuda, and even the new gulp strips will work great. You want to side drift through your spots on the bottom, keeping a close eye on the rod tip, looking for the tap. Once you have one on, that's when the game starts. Do I slack up and go for more, or do I come up and just play the safe route? Personally, after the fish bite, I try to come up about 20 feet or so to drive the hook, and then drop back down to the bottom and try to get a few more. I have a photo sent in by Captain James Hagan with a variety pack of what you might see out there in the deep.
Nice. All right. Let's stay offshore. What else is happening, Bub?
I spoke to Captain James Hagan on the Yabba Dabba Doo out of Three Waters Resort Marina. The most consistent game in town is the schoolie dolphin in 400 to 900 feet of water. We talk a lot about mahis this time of year because it's a great way to get a line tight, and the nice part about mahis is you're covering lots of ground and you can mix it up, meaning on the way out you can stop and do some of the snapper fishing on the live bottom or run way offshore and do some deep dropping or even sword fishing before you turn around and head back inshore. You want to look for birds, weed lines, and floating debris, and you want to use live pilchards or cigar minnows, and make sure to have a box of squid or chunks of dead ballyhoo for when you get into the schoolies, you could help save some of your live baits. And I have a photo sent in by Captain James Hagan of the kiddos with some mahis that he got right before school started back up.
Nice. All right, let's stay inshore.
You know, fishing in general has been really good, but the lobstering is in full force. For the divers, you can use nets, tickle sticks, and snares to work the lobsters out of their holes and into your nets. You want to make sure to have a dive flag up and work with a buddy. Also, have someone on the boat measuring your lobsters because the FWC will write you tickets for undersized lobsters. Also, guys, you want to look for the eggs, too. For the guys that don't like to get in the water, like myself, you can still go out there and catch a limit of lobsters. Bully netting at night is where you can use underwater lights to light up the flats, and you motor around all the shallows looking for the lobsters crawling across the flat, scooping them up with a long-handled net that's bent in 90 degrees. It's a fun alternative to getting a lobster dinner. And I have a photo of my mom and my wife with a bunch of lobsters that we caught bully netting the other night with Captain Thomas Sims.
How about that?
Look at the Murphy girls.
The girls rule. All right, tell me about the bonefish, Bub.
I spoke to Captain Chase Matters out of Alamorada, and he says that the bone fishing downtown is really good. You want to look for the fish on the flats, mudding and waking and tailing. Fish with the current, as the fish will be working into the current. You also want to keep an eye out for rays because they may be piggybacking on their backs. For rods, you're going to want to use a 7-foot, 6-inch medium light Fenwick Eagle rod with a 4,000 size Penn spinning reel loaded with 8 to 10 pound Berkley X9 braided line. And this is going to allow you to throw a long lay, but still very accurately. And for bait, we tend to use a live shrimp on a Eagle Claw 2.0 shrimp hook with a small split shot, so you can still throw it quite a ways. Or you can use pink and tan bucktail jigs or fly fish for these with 8 to 9 weight Hardy fly rods with shrimp pattern flies.
All right, Bub, thank you so much. We'll talk to you later. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Renew Promotions hotspots from the Florida Keys. My man Ridge says lobsters all up and down the inside of the reef line from 5 to 20 feet of water. You can dive for them. You can buoy net them at night. Make sure that you have a good measuring device. Don't get in trouble with that. Yellowtails, mangrove snappers, and 60 to 90 feet of water offshore anchor or spot lock. Chum with frozen chum, sand, and oats. And then free line baits like cut ballyhoo, shrimp behind the boat with 10 to 12 pound mono.
So here's a question. While the girls were out catching lobster, where was the baby?
The baby was with Fish Puppy. And you know, the cool part about taking care of the baby, and it's just me and the baby, is that we both have the same bedtime, about 7:45. So I put the bottle in the baby's mouth and boom, we were sleeping until they came home.
She goes to sleep, you go to sleep.
That's it. All I got, all I had to do.
Sleeping on the job, man.
Give her the bath and put her the bottle in her mouth, and guess what? She's gone, and I'm gone 10 minutes behind her.
Wow, Fish Pop, you got it all figured out. All right, if you're ready to put your fishing skills to the test, the Florida Keys tournament calendar has plenty coming up. First, the Herman Lucerne Memorial Backcountry Fishing Championship, September 18th through the 20th in Isla Mirada. Anglers fish the waters of Everglades National Park, chasing 7 different species over 2 days, with awards handed out in 22 categories at the Islander Resort. Then it's the Take Stock in Children Backcountry Challenge, September 25th through the 27th in Key Largo. This one features around-the-clock fishing with teams chasing redfish, snook, and trout through Sunday afternoon. Next, calling all fly anglers as the Fall Backcountry Fly Championship returns to Isla Mirada October 1st through the 3rd, targeting snook and redfish on fly. And finally, October 16th through the 18th is the annual Ladies Let's Go Fishing, Saltwater University, and Fishing Fever Tournament with both backcountry and offshore categories. All right, Rick, well, coming up, we're headed coast to coast. First, Captain Jeffrey Page has the StarTron Central West region. Then we'll hop across the state and check in with Captain Jim Ross in the Central East region. Let's see who's got the better bite. We'll be right back.
All right.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control, Berkeley, Your Fish, Our Science, Bahio, Blue Light Blocking, Radically Clear Polarized Fishing Sunglasses, Penn, Let the Battle Begin, and Kubota, your local dealer of choice.
Welcome back, everyone, and now we're heading to the StarTron Central West region, where you can go from pulling on some serious offshore muscle to chasing snook and reds back inshore with Captain Jeff Page. What's going on, Page?
Hey, you guys. You know, in the StarTron Central West region, we definitely have a deep drop bite. Trouble is, and it's not that much of trouble anymore because of these big boats with these 3 and 4 outboard motors and the catamarans. It doesn't take them long to get 100 or 200 miles out. So, and that's where you want to get started. At least 500-600 feet of water. And you know what, Bree and Rick, a lot of the guys are using those electric reels these days because there's a variety of species down in that deep water. And this time of year, it can be 10, 15 degrees cooler down in that deep water. All kinds of groupers, scamps, kitty mitchells, strawberries, big American red snappers, and I learned a new species. I didn't put a picture of one, but it's called an escolar, and it's another crazy-looking critter from the deep. You know, and then certain times of year there's swordfish, and then up in the water column a little bit there's big wahoos and tunas. That's why it's always a good idea to have a variety of baits, frozen as well as live, and some deep. Some different trolling plugs as well. Captain Tim he likes to fish with live baits early and in the evening, and then he likes to troll and deep drop during the heat of the day, and then of course at night. some serious deep dropping. And I have 2 deep drop pictures. The first one is of Captain Tim Noe himself of Gulf Coast Ventures with a big true black grouper he got on a recent trip.
Nice.
And then the second picture is a big wahoo on the same trip. They got him trolling in when they had just packed up from deep dropping, heading in, and that's Derek and Scott Stottlemyre with a 76-pound wahoo.
Wow. Those dudes might just want to quit fishing with those big grouper and a big wahoo. Tell me about what else you got offshore, Paige.
Goliath grouper, as you know, Rick, it's the time of year when you want to pull on something big. A shark or a Goliath grouper are going to be your top 2 species. And the cool thing about that Goliath, Rick, is they're sometimes in shallow water as 20 feet, as you know, down your way. But they're on out there in that deeper water, pretty much where your other species are holding, like permits and stuff like that. There's going to be Goliaths nearby. And all you got to do is rig up a heavy rig with a big, like 10-0 Trocor heavy-duty circle hook. And you can even use cable if you're afraid of getting broke off. And it will test your strength. If you think you can fight a Goliath, it's a good test of strength, just like a big amberjack. And some of those fish can be 30 pounds, which you are allowed to keep now with a special permit. And it's only from like March to May. It's a short window, but you can keep one, and those smaller ones are pretty good eating from what I hear. I've got a Goliath photo tonight, a bearded man with a nice Goliath he got with Braden and Fishing Charters Captain John Schnaring. Moving inshore, snook fishing with all the afternoon thunderstorms we've had. Snook fishing remains really strong. As you know, he's a saltwater brackish water species, so the tannic water's really not bothering him. If anything, it's got him fired up a little. And, you know, around the oyster bars, it's been a really good topwater bite, provided the floating grass isn't bad. Bone jaywalker in the large size has been better. Now, live bait, like big pilchards, big pinfish, big grunts, especially that big grunt, because you send him down, he stays down. And then at night, they've been doing really good around Longboat Pass and New Pass on that outgoing tide with live ladyfish and silver bullet. And I have got a snook picture tonight. That's a big snook that they caught on board Captain Nate Costello of Anna Maria Excursions boat.
Wow, that is a monster.
Dang.
All right, Bub, what else? Tell me about the redfish.
The last one, redfish, and he doesn't seem to mind the tannic water either. You and I were talking about this the other morning. I believe a lot of bait gets flushed out of the creeks, and that red's just laying there eating them, and he's not near as spooky as that clear water. It's the time of year, Rick, when a lot of those fish will be along the beaches and in our inlets. And then, of course, big schools are holding around the regular places like Longbar, Palmasola, Turtle Bay, Bull Bay, and even some good fish in Lemon Bay. Now, of course, live pilchard pinfish are great, but that Berkeley 4-inch turbo gulp in white or flamingo pink has been working real well, and I like rigging that on a 1/4-ounce chartreuse jig head. And my last photo tonight is what it's all about. 2 happy young campers from the Sarasota Fishing Camp, and they got that with Captain Devin York.
They sure did. Thank you so much, Paige. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Daiquiri Deck hotspots from the Startron Central West region. He says inshore, nighttime snook and tarpon, free line live ladyfish or silver mullet on the outgoing tide at Gasparilla Pass, Stump Pass, or Venice Jetty for big snook and tarpon. And then offshore, permit. They're holding on the nearshore artificial reefs in 3 to 7 mile range from Anna Maria south to Venice. Free line live pass crabs, and try a small split shot to get them down a little in the water column.
You have something to say.
We have to address this. Listen, guys, you can't go catch a Goliath grouper. You have to apply with the FWC during certain times of the year, and it's a lottery. They'll call you if you get the lottery ticket. Don't go out and start whacking stuff and say, Jeff Page said we can catch one during May to June or March or whatever. I just want to clear that up. I don't need that on my plate. You know what I mean?
Feel better?
Yeah, sure. But I'm getting anxiety from all that mess.
I know, he had to say it.
Yeah.
Thanks for clearing it up. All right, let's head over to the Central East region where there's plenty happening from the beaches to way beyond the reefs. And our deep drop as well as Captain Jim Ross, he knows exactly where to take us. What you got for us, Jim?
Well, you know, it's one of those things where you got to grab your Penn electric reels, like Rick was talking about at the beginning of the show, and you got to get out to Dwyer's Domain and the Pinnacle and some of these deep places, because right now it's a really good bite offshore. Anywhere from about 1,200 feet of water to about 1,800 feet of water, you're catching swordfish right now. They seem to be fairly consistent for everybody who's been out there dropping during the daytime in those depths. You can even, fish as deep as 2,000 if you got enough line on your reel. Now, most of these fish are striking large squids or dolphin bellies, any kind of tough, durable bait that you can put down there. And a lot of guys will take a squid skirt and put over the top of the bait, and that way you can catch those fish a lot easier, because the bait doesn't get torn up in the process of putting it down to those depths. Now, if you move back into a relatively shallower zone from about 550 feet of water to about 700 feet of water, there's yellow edge grouper, blue line, and golden tiles right now, and those fish are striking cut baits, any kind of cut baits, bonitas, barracuda, even squid. So basically, the thing to do is just get out there, drop some of those heavy weights down into those deep depths, and get it into that cold water for some hot bites this summertime. The other species I talked with Captain Mike Kipp the other day on Fireline Fishing Charters out of Ponce. He's been absolutely whacking the lane snappers up there. Ponce Inlet has been fantastic for it, but in the central part of the region and the south part of the region, we still have a super strong mangrove bite going on right now, and especially as you get down from the high bar all the way south, from the pines all the way down to Vero, the mangroves are still really good on those 50 to 90 foot reefs right now. And so if you guys and gals can get out there with some live pilchards, live pogies, finger mullet, even large shrimp or cut baits, you can catch these bigger mangrove snapper. I've got a picture here though with Captain Mike with a full table of those lane snappers that he caught the other day out of Ponce Inlet.
Man, he did catch them. Good haul for those dudes. Tell me about inshore, bub.
Well, I'm going to kind of do a nearshore thing to start with. We're not going to go all the way to the flats just yet, Ricky. We've got king mackerel in the Central East beaches right now. The Space Coast area has gotten really hot for kings. They've kind of pushed off of the reef the last couple of days, and they've been running in there and getting on those huge bait pods that are running inshore right now. So the 25 foot out to about the 40 foot depths are where you want to fish. The water in there is in that low 80-degree range right now. There's tons of menhaden. There's glass minnows. There's some bumper. There are baby bonitas, little bullet bonitas. And so if you get in there and slow troll with a live menhaden or ribbon fish, you're going to get these bigger king mackerel to strike. Even if you get some 7 to 10 inch mullet, they'll work really good too. The problem I have with the trolling mullet is that mullet can see the king mackerel coming, and just about the time that the king mackerel hits warp factor 5 and is just about to clip the motor off the back of that mullet, the mullet takes a side step on him, and you watch that fish go in the air with no mullet in his mouth. So, not saying you can't use them, I'm just saying that they know what's coming at them, and they're a little stealthier, or a little bit quicker than those stealthy kingfish think they are, so they don't catch them as much. But I've got a great picture here of Kane. He was out with me last week. He's my boy from Okeechobee. Come up here, and he got him some good action. Got a bunch of sharks as well. In fact, speaking of sharks, there's a lot of sharks in the surf zone right now. We're not the shark bite capital of the world for nothing. In fact, we've been crowned back-to-back champions of the Shark Bite Capital of the World competition. And it's not by accident for the last couple of years. So here's your warning. Be careful at the beaches right now, because if you are in the surf or you're fishing from the surf, there are a lot of sharks. So just keep that in mind. Now, so my last species is a true inshore species, Rick. We're going with one of our favorites. It's the redfish from the upper Indian River. This is where we're getting our best reports. Port St. John all the way up through Scottsmore. There's really good water quality right now, and the calm conditions and the grass and the low water are allowing you to see like hundreds of yards. You can see redfish away from you. Literally 150, 200 yards. You can see these fish tailing, pushing, popping shrimp, making wakes. It's a really great time to get out there and sight fish right now. Just look for the V wakes or the tails, and you'll know where to go. Stealth is the key, though. You got to bring a push pole or use the wind at your advantage and just drift down the flat if you have that advantage of the wind. When the moon gets a little fuller, coming into September, we're going to get a little more water. These fish are going to be spread out a little bit more, but right now they're concentrated, and a live shrimp with a 2-aught circle hook is going to get you a 20 to 25 inch redfish Got my last picture here with Don Wilson with a nice one, golden colored little guy that we sight fished right there in front of Banana Creek last week.
All right, thank you so much, Jimmy. We're gonna go and take a look at the hot spots from the Central East region. Jimmy says that the speckled trout in the Banana River and Sykes Creek area is where you're gonna find them. Use popping or rattling corks with an 8-ounce jig head and an Assassin 4-inch sea shad in 2 to 3 feet of grass flats. And then offshore, the king mackerel and a variety of sharks on the beaches, slow troll, live menhaden, or rigged ribbon fish in 25 to 40 foot depths to get her done for those sharks and king mackerels.
All right, good stuff. Still ahead, we're giving Captain Jimbo Thomas another excuse to play with new fishing gear at the CCA workbench for Taco Marine new products. Are you ready, Jimbo?
You ready?
I'm always game to play with fishing gear.
Oh yeah, you are.
He's the king of playing.
Exactly.
He sure is.
All right, then we'll keep the deep drop tour rolling with Captain Mike Holliday in the Alta Equipment East region. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Skeeter Performance Fishing Boats. Eat, sleep, fish. Alta Equipment Company, where uptime matters. Ameritrail. Load, launch, relax. Discover Crystal River, Florida. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin. Best lures, period. And Black Oak LED. Never be left in the dark.
Well, it's time for the Taco Marine new products here at the CCA workbench. I certainly got Jimbo in here, and he's going to tell you about some stuff here in a second. But I'm going to get it started, guys, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Black Oak LED Spotlight. This I have on my Chitim. I fasten it with this particular part, Jimbo. It goes basically just like this. What I love is I can put it on the shaft of the trolling motor, or I can put it on the leg of the poling of the casting platform. What's neat is I can have that all the way up in the front, but then this plugs in to my cigarette lighter in the Chitim or in the Skeeter, and all I can do is turn it on and off.
You've got a cigarette lighter on the boat?
I certainly do.
Oh, all right.
Well, you know, whatever they call it these days, you know what I mean? But the cool part is that this thing shoots a beam like you can't believe. It makes dark in the light. Black Oak is certainly really doing a great job of keeping us safe at running at night. They make a variety of different types of spotlights. I love this. Ridge he's redoing his airboat. We got 2 of these for Ridge to put them up on there. Real lightweight. There are lifetime warranty. 20 feet of harness goes on there. They're bright with no glare because of the mounting with the light on the front of the boat. That's what I really, really like about it. Let me make sure I didn't forget anything. It also has UV resistant lens, and again, a lifetime warranty. Perfect for your boats, perfect for your dock, perfect for your ATV, UTV. You can set it up on airboats, buggies. What I also like is I keep mine portable, so that I can take it
from boat to boat.
Yeah, I can take it from boat to boat. I can take it to deer camp and put it on the grill of the Jeep, whatever it is, and it really makes life very, very easy.
All right. Well, I've got some Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome braid, and it's metered, so different colors. Every meter comes out a different color, which is ideal for deep dropping.
Correct.
You got a line counter on most of your deep drop reels, but if you want to count that, you could theoretically count how deep you're going with your line.
That's correct.
This has been tested and proven by Berkeley's top captains. I don't know if I'm one of them, but I have used it.
Of course you are.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to say you're, of course.
It comes in 7 sizes from 20 to 130 pound test.
Yes.
And it is premium smooth and subtle 8 carrier braid, which means it has 8 threads.
Right, which makes it feel more round. What I love is every 20 feet, it changes color. So let's say you're fishing in 200 feet of water, you're just going to count 10 color changes.
Correct.
I did a show with Bree one time. We were fishing on the Hump Marathon. I said, Bree, how far are you dropping down? She's getting bites on blackfin tunas. I said, Bree, how far are you dropping down? She goes, I'm dropping down to the blue line. What? How many blue lines, Bree? Just the blue line. Well, how do you know? She said she knew, and she would get a bite every time. I'm sitting there counting. And guess what? She's just catching them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. I said the bad word. Sorry, Nicole. All right, my turn. We're gonna do the stowaway Plano bags. There's 3 of them here, Jimbo. There's a small, a medium, and a grande or large. But what's so cool about these Plano bags is the material that they're made out of is pretty much resistant to hooks. It can also be thrown.
This mesh isn't, though.
This mesh is not,
No.
That's correct. But it can be thrown, you know, they get nasty, they can maybe get a little mildewy, whatever
washer.
happens. We can throw this into the washing machine. They come in, like I said, 3 different sizes, and I gotta make sure that I get this correct. They're also made perfectly to go in the tote, which is another backpack that they have.
Right.
They have it also packed in these cubes. The fabric is breathable. It's made for the Plano sportsman's trunk, backpack, and carry-on stow all. Also, these sizes are perfect for the different size Plano
Boxes.
little tackle trays.
Right.
So it's really cool. You know, this is kind of how it works. It got 3 different sizes. You tell me about
All right,
how
real
those
quick.
Eagle Claw
We got some
pliers are gonna
Eagle
go in
Claw 7-inch forging pliers.
there. Forging.
Forging. It says forging right there.
Okay.
And they are corrosion resistant,
Right.
made of some carbon steel.
Right.
And they cut braid. So if you got your braid, because a lot of pliers don't cut braid very good. So these cut braid, and they've got multiple use. You could crimp with them. You can cut braid.
We're gonna keep talking. Keep talking.
Well, we're
keep
gonna test
talking.
it.
We're gonna test it.
It
Oh,
works.
Nice.
That
it
is
works.
sharp.
Of course they work. Obviously, Eagle Claw product made here in the U.S.
And they got replaceable jaws, I see. So
Right.
when your cutters do get worn,
right. We have the ability to crimp.
they will get worn. You can replace them.
All right. You did a good job.
They work,
That was a
ladies and
bullseye.
gentlemen. You got him.
Good job, Jimbo.
What a dream team over here, I swear. All right, summer may be winding down, but the savings are still going strong with Yamaha's Summer Sunset Sales event. Now through September 9th, 2026, purchase a new eligible Yamaha 30 to 40 450 HP outboard and receive up to 6 years of coverage protection. Looking for something a little smaller maybe? Purchase a new eligible Yamaha 2.5 to 25 HP outboard and receive up to $300 in dealer credit. Visit your local Yamaha dealer today for more information. I still have the image of Rick grabbing Jimbo in my head right now. All right, when you're deep dropping for tilefish in the All Equipment East region, it's all about finding that mud or clay bottom, not the hard sand, because that's where they burrow in, or so Mike Holliday says. So Mike, what's up?
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. Bree, you know, golden and blue line tilefish, they dig burrows in the bottom and they like clay or mud over sand. So you want to try and look for that type of bottom when you're chasing them. They also tend to congregate in small schools. So when you hook one, you want to mark that spot and then go back and drift over it because you're likely to catch more. And as a rule in my region, you're going to find them in 500 to 700 feet of water or more. And you're going to have a lot of current, like a 4 to 6 knot current. So you're probably going to have to carry up to 10 pounds of lead just to reach bottom. And for bait, you want something durable like a chunk of bonita or barracuda or even a whole squid. And then the other style of deep dropping, you can also target some of the wrecks or atolls in like 400 feet of water or more. And you'll find everything from snowy grouper or yellow edge grouper or Warsaw grouper. They call them wreck fish also. And barrelfish hang around the wrecks as well. And on the wrecks, big live baits work really well, as do chunks. Maybe add a chunk of ladyfish to that formula. And a lot of guys will also use big jigging spoons for deep dropping. I got a cool photo from Captain Rich Du Bois of Salty Dave's charter boat out of Port St. Lucie. He sent me this shot of there's a blue line tile, Amoco jack, and a yellow edge grouper. They caught all 3 of those slow pitch jigging in 500 feet of water off Stewart.
Cool.
The other thing we got going, we've got a good push of kingfish in the area, really from Palm Beach all the way up to Fort Pierce. The fish are moving quite a bit, so every day it seems to be a different bite, but there's a lot of smokers in the mix, a lot of fish caught off the Loran Ledge, the 6 Mile Reef, and the 12A buoy. And on the days when the wind is out of the west in the morning, which has been a lot of the days lately, the fish are in on the beach around the bait schools. You want to target them with live Spanish sardines or blue runners or goggle eyes or thread fins, whatever you can find. Put them out on a number 4 wire stinger rig around the bait schools. Catch a bait, put a hook in it, throw it right back out, slow troll it around the school, you'll get bit. Average king 12 to 25 pounds with fish to 40 in the mix. And I got a photo of Mike McRae of Palm City. He got this nice smoker king to eat a live Spanish sardine in 75 feet of water off Hope Sound.
He sure did. Let's go inshore, Buff.
Well, the inshore tarpon bite has really picked up in the Loxahatchee River, the St. Lucie River, and the Indian River. Fish of all sizes are showing up right now. We're really seeing like a little push of mullet inshore. So if you can find those mullet schools, you'll also find the fish. Places like Big and Little Mud Creek, the St. Lucie Locks, the Crossroads in Stewart, and the canal, the main canal at Harbor Branch. All those areas have fish. Don't overlook the nighttime bridge bite. There's a lot of fish on the bridges right now eating the mullet. The best action is right at dawn, which is the coolest part of the day. And it's that randomly rolling fish type of fishing. So you can slow troll, live mullet or thread fins with your trolling motor, or you can cast like a saltwater assassin Houdini colored 4-inch sea shad, throw those at the rolling fish, or you can even just post up, fish dead baits on the bottom. And then keep in mind, if it's an outgoing tide, look for tarpon slurping crabs off the surface near the inlets. Average tarpon 20 to 80 pounds. And Captain Jimmy Walden of Night Stalker Charters in Jensen Beach, he sent me the shot of a nice tarpon they caught in the St. Lucie River. They got that fish to eat a live mullet. Other bite we got going, the largest snook of the year. They've moved into all the inlets. They're also along the beaches in the region, so places like the Lake Worth and Juneau Piers, Hope Sound Wildlife Refuge, Walton Rocks, and South Beach and Fort Pierce. They all have great sight fishing when the water's clear. And with that first of the fall mullet showing, the nighttime action around the bridges, they're in there with the tarpon. In the inlets and on the beach, a croaker, a sand perch, a threadfin, or a sardine are the top bait. And don't overlook putting a dead bait on the bottom for those jumbo fish that are in the inlet right now. On the bridges, a topwater plug like a Berkeley Jaywalker 120 is going to be money after dark. A big swim bait works pretty well, as does a live mullet. And average snook 8 to 20 pounds. And I got a cool photo of Hannah Rossler of New Smyrna Beach. She got her personal best snook on fly on a rock pile in St. Lucie Inlet.
Nice.
That's cool,
So
dude.
cool.
Hey, give me a bass report. What do we got?
Yeah, water levels are still down on Lake Okeechobee. It's kind of in its summertime pattern. That basically means you want to be on the water at dawn, looking for bass, busting the spawning shad on the outside edges of the Kissimmee grass. Captain Nathan Schoen of OkeechobeeBassFishing.com said the bite goes from Kings Bar all the way to the south end of the lake. Just look for busting fish. Throw anything from a white spinnerbait to a topwater plug or soft plastic. He said there's also a nice Deepwater bite going in the Kissimmee River, throwing big glide baits or a Carolina rig 10-inch June bug colored worm. And then as the sun gets up, the big fish bite is around the bluegill beds, fishing a popping frog, a topwater plug, or a watermelon red glitter colored worm rig Senko style. And don't overlook the isolated cattails, just flipping creature baits. It's a 20 fish morning, bass 1 to 4 pounds. Okeechobee's on fire right now. It's got low water, so it's really, really fishing well.
Man, you're on fire. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
What a
guys.
great report. I appreciate it. Just like every week. Thank you so much, Mike. We're going to go ahead and look at the TH Marine hotspot from the East region. Inshore, he said jumbo snook for catch and release at Jupiter Inlet, live croakers, sand perch, Spanish sardines on a Jupiter rig, and then offshore mangrove snappers to 10 pounds in 80 to 90 feet of water off of the Bethel Shoals. A live pinfish, a sand perch, Spanish sardine, or blue runner is going to work for them snaps.
All right, Rick. Well, as we know, CCA Florida does so much. It's hard to put into words, but numbers matter to those who may not know. So
That's right.
Let's take a look at these numbers. Here we go.
So in Sarasota County, we're just talking about Sarasota County, 25,000 redfish and trout have been released into Sarasota Bay. Sarasota Bay also has done a clam restoration with 500,000 clams, which means a lot of water being filtered. And then to date, CCA has released with its partners nearly 600,000 redfish across the state. So understand that one clam filters 30 gallons of water a day.
Dang.
30
Think about
gallons
that.
of water
Say it
a
one
day.
more time.
30 gallons of water
One
a day.
clam.
One clam. And guys,
Crazy.
you're wondering what CCA does? They do it all.
They do everything.
That's right.
All right, we're not reeling up just yet. Captain Pat Deneen is next with the Panhandle region. Then we'll send it on over to Captain Tommy Derringer in the Northeast region. And remember, if you're hooked on fishing in Florida, then don't miss a thing. Swing by our website, smash that like button on Facebook, reel us in on X and Instagram, and make sure you cast on over to our YouTube channel, Captain Rick Murphy, for fresh fishing adventures, reports, and more. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by StarTron. Start, run, and store with StarTron. Berkeley, your fish, our science. CCA Florida, 40 years of protecting Florida's fisheries. The Florida Keys and Key West, come as you are. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And the IGFA, every fish, every water, every angler since 1939.
All right, from the Gulf floor to the surface, you better keep every rod on the boat ready in the Panhandle this week. Captain Pat Deneen, let's see what you got.
Hey, Bree, I tell you, deep dropping is really popular in the Panhandle. If you take swordfish out of the picture, the targeted species are typically going to be tile fishing and deepwater groupers. The tile fish, they're coming off a soft bottom in 800 to 1,000 feet of water, normally north or maybe east of the spur. It's pretty easy fishing. What you want is a slight drift so you can cover some bottom. On a faster drift, you really need to feather your lead. You want to keep contact with the bottom, otherwise you're certainly not going to catch the tile fish. The groupers and the deepwater snappers, they're coming from some form of hard bottom or structure. And we've got the Gulf pipeline running from Louisiana to Tampa, west to southeast. Pretty much stays in 300 to 700 feet of water after it rolls off the edge, and it's a real popular place to find those deepwater hard bottom fish. Setting up the drift or holding up becomes much more critical. You want to stay near that structure. Either way, you're going to be using cut baits or whole baits like cigar minnows, herrings, squids. You want to just make sure you get a good purchase on your bait, so it survives the trip down there and survives a little bit of bites before you bring it back up. There's a photo there of a real pretty golden tile fish we caught on the out of here. We were fishing a little south of the edge towards the dumping grounds in 900 feet of water. So those are real popular fish up here. Staying offshore, man, Rick, the bill fishing has been going off. We've got sailfish, white marlins, blue marlins, all the billfish species. This past couple of weeks or so, multiple grand slams, even some boats have caught double, triple, and even I heard of one, caught a quadruple grand slam on these overnight trips. For at least 3 weeks, this has been happening. It's been nothing short of epic. There's been sailfish or white marlin along that 100-fathom curve and just offshore of it, north and east of the spur, with just enough blue marlins thrown in to keep you on your toes. It's been pretty much an open water bite, so there's really not grass lines or grass shag while you're out there, but finding the bait is key. So pay attention for flyers, but even more important, keep an eye on that bottom machine. If you have decent watercolor and marking some bait, stay in that area. There's a photo there of the Coldplay, a boat out of Orange Beach, fishing the same waters we are. After a trip you can dream of. It's a triple grand slam on a 3-day trip. I mean, what a trip that is.
Wow. That's just so cool. How far do you got to run, Pat, to get to that water?
55, 60 miles right now, Rick. This is the time for you to come on up there with your front or your offshore boat of yours.
All right, we'll have to do that.
Yeah,
Tell me about the flounder.
Moving inshore, the flounder gig in that night has been very consistent. It's been hot, so that nighttime is a great time to be on the water. With new moon, like we just had, it's been finding them on that rising moon, looking on that bayou mouths and the grassy shorelines. It's also a good time to bring a light spinning rod or with some small baits or some soft plastics, because the dock lights are doing really well as well with trout and redfish. There's a photo of Emily first night with a pair of fat flatties she's gigged in Choctawhatchee Bay just this past week. So
nice.
I love me some flounders, man. And then lastly, inshore, I got to mention the big bluefish along the beach, Rick. Typically we've got bluefish 16 to 20 inches, but lately we've been catching some nice ones, 6-7 pounders easy. They're in pretty big schools, big, good-sized schools of fish on these quiet sections of the beach. So in other words, outside the Cape and St. Joe, along the beaches of Shell and Crooked Islands, and then also the Eglin and National Seashore beaches, west of Destin. What you want to do is look for those schools of fish in the gully just off the first bar, And you can catch them on most anything that's moving, but you want to use a trace of wire or at least some 50 or 60-pound leaders on your lure or your bait so you don't get readily cut off. So that's been real consistent.
All right, before we go, I heard that your dad did something like, in my mind, is absolutely crazy. Why don't you tell us about it, Bub?
Hey, Rick, my dad just turned 94. I asked him before his birthday, hey, Pop, what do you want for your birthday? He looked at me. He's a retired veteran, fighter pilot veteran. So he looked at me and said, I want to go skydiving. And I said, what? And sure enough, he and I went skydiving for his 94th birthday.
That's
wow.
amazing.
So I got one serious question. I'm looking at this picture. Why in the world are you would a guy wear a crash helmet?
Oh, the guy behind? I know. That's what Dad said. He goes, why are those guys wearing helmets and we're not?
Yeah.
Also, what would the helmet do?
And that's
I don't know, but
exactly.
he's always said, don't ever jump out of a perfectly good
Sorry.
airplane. And I said, well, Dad, you just jumped out of a perfectly good airplane. And he looked at me.
Did you
square,
jump
said,
with him?
That was not a perfectly good airplane.
Did you? Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Don't get
You
me a
said
PTSD. You're going to get me going, Jackson. All right, we love you. Thank you. I think that's so cool you did that with your dad.
That is cool.
We're going to go and take a look at the Bolivian adventure hotspots from the Panhandle region. Wow. Inshore fish, the late afternoon falling tide at the Destin Bridge for large redfish using live croakers and spot minnows on a Carolina rig. Then offshore, please take advantage of the billfish bite going off north and east of the spur. Troll dink ballyhoos and teasers, but be ready for the blue one and have that pitch rod ready.
I want to say that 2 times I've jumped out of a perfectly good airplane, one time in New Zealand and one time in the Keys. They were not wearing a helmet, but I think the helmet is for if someone throws up or if someone headbutts them.
Is that what you think?
I just came up with that.
You want to think?
Yeah, what?
It's for the noise.
Oh.
Get rid of the noise.
Too. But all 3 of those things combined could work. All right, Tommy, every region gets to play the deep drop game a little bit differently, and we know you've got a plan for the lithium battery power Northeast region, so let's hear it. What do you think the helmet's for? Just kidding. Go to your report.
Tell us, Tommy.
I'm baffled by the whole thing of jumping out of an airplane. Not something I'm going to do. Yeah, man, hey, we don't do a whole lot of deep dropping here in the Northeast region, but we do have a really great snapper bite happening. So I thought I'd talk about that this week. We have a great snapper bite. There's some big mangoes and some big muttons, but the beeliners are where it's at currently. If you're looking to have an epic taco night, this is going to be a great time of year to book one of our region captains because easy limit of beeliners are happening right now. I spoke to Captain Jason Hadges from the J-Hook, and they've been catching big numbers of those beeliners in 85 to out to about 150 foot east of St. Augustine. Captain Jason said that he's marking huge clouds of those fish on the bottom machine, like I said, around natural structures and about 85 feet. Now he's using chicken rigs with about 10 to 12 ounces of lead, depending on the current. Now Jason said you're gonna wanna fish about 3/4 of the way to the bottom because the grunts are thick if you get any deeper than that. Now for bait, he said he's gonna go with cut Boston mackerels or cut squid, and he's gonna rig them on a 2 to 3/0 eagle claw circle hook. And there's also some muttons and some mangoes around in that same area, in those same areas, and of course a ton of red snappers, more than you ever could want. And I got a picture here. Captain Jason Hadges, he sent me this picture of some happy clients with a nice boatload of vermilions. Man, fish tacos for everybody again, right there.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, staying offshore, guys. Back to the kingfish this week, man. I spoke to Captain Rob Bennett from coastalfish.net. He tells me the kingfish bite is back on those
All right, so he's saying that Captain Rob said he'd been catching them on the top, but the better bite has been on downriggers about half the distance down to the bottom. He also told him that the beach bite has been good and he's been pulling mullet there. The tide lines are also a good spot to check, especially with a mullet running fast. A mullet run is running fast or soon to be here. Rob also said that there's some sharks and some bad ditches, downriggers on the surface baits. He's got a picture of Captain Rob that he sent with a picture of a happy client, a nice nearshore kingfish. Tommy, tell us about the Jack Crevalles. Are you there, Tommy?
Yeah, man, the often overlooked. I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Jack Crevalles, tell me.
Okay, the often overlooked Jack Crevalle. Yeah, man, they've been blowing up some bait here in the Northeast region this week. It's that time of year when there's all kinds of small baits coming in the inlets, and the jacks have been absolutely busting them up. You know, when it gets as hot as it's been the last couple of weeks, it can be tough to get on any kind of inshore bite, but the jacks are like, hey, we don't care about no heat, and they make for some awesome, super fun drag screaming action. Now, one really great way to catch them is on a top water, and we've been having a blast, literally blasting them out of the water, watching them nail that Berkeley jaywalker. Been crushing the Berkeley stick shad as well. You know, the jacks have been hanging around the inlets, the bridges, and all up and down the ICW. They really like that tide, and it's been bringing in the boar. Just look for busting fish and toss one of those lures I just mentioned in there, and you're gonna hook up. Those jacks are running about 3 to 10 pounds, and you'll know when that 10-pounder hits because the drag's gonna be absolutely screaming. Now, staying inshore, you know, the flounder bite's been great this week. Again, with all that small bait around the flounder, loving it. We've got the perfect flounder. Some of those perfect sized finger mullet that are thick right now. Rig them on either a fish finder rig or
he said, or a 1/4 ounce 3-ounce jig. He said also target small runouts, basically anywhere that you see a concentration of finger mullet. I've seen so many flounders airing out, busting through those mullet this week. The flounder have also been hanging out in the inlets. You want to make sure that you're around the slack tide, and you might want to use a fish finder rig where they can be weighted enough to get to the bottom. Those flounders are running from 2 to 4 pounds with a bigger fish mixed in. Speaking of a bigger flounder, he's got one last picture. This is a man named Dennis with a doormat-sized flatty that he caught with Tommy this week in St. Augustine. It's looking like Dennis is awful happy there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so let's take a second, and we're gonna go ahead and look at the Torquedo hotspots from the Northeast region. Tommy says that inshore, the flounder on the early morning outgoing tide throughout the region. Target smaller runouts right along the ICW with a finger mullet on a saltwater assassin jig head. And then guess what? Offshore, the beeliners at 85-foot depths around natural structure. The fish are about 3/4 of the way down to avoid the grunts. Don't drop it all the way to the bottom or you'll be getting grunted.
Don't you do that.
I won't do that.
If you love Florida's waters, why not take that love on the road? Grab the Conserve Florida's Fisheries license plate and help your $25. It helps support clean water, restore habitat, protect marine life, and educate the next generation of Florida anglers. Look good, do good, and help keep Florida fishing strong. Get yours at your local DMV online or at redfishtag.com. How about that?
I love it. You know, thunderstorms aren't our friend when it comes to Zoom calls.
Hey, live TV, man, what are you gonna do?
That's it, we're doing it.
It's exciting. You never know what's gonna happen. All right, we've gone deep all around the state tonight, but the Casa del Golfo Northwest region still gets a turn with Captain Mike Anderson when we come back. And don't forget, you've been watching from home. Now come and join the party. Our next live studio audience is September 16th for our 600th episode. Come hang with the crew, win some swag, and see what really happens when the cameras are rolling. Visit FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com and claim your seat now like these folks did. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala. Fenwick, feel everything. Phillips, building the infrastructure that safeguards our future. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy, fishing for adventure. Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome. And Taco Marine, driven by people, focused on you.
Have you ever felt your heart pounding while feeling the power of a tarpon in the Florida Keys? Or experienced the changing colors of a mahi while you bring it on board? Whether it's in the Bahamas, the Florida Keys, Guatemala, or the Florida Everglades, Murphy's Law Sport Fishing has the ability to guide you to the fish of a lifetime. To book your trip today, call 305-878-0455 or go to murphyslawsportfishing.com.
Well, Rick, apparently we assigned homework this week, and Mike Anderson actually did it.
Right.
Yes, let's head to the Casa del Golfo Northwest region and see what he came up with. Go for it, Mike.
Always do what I'm told. The old deep drop, I did have to do a little homework on this one. I've only done this a few times in my career, but my good friend Captain Dylan Hubbard, they're out of Hubbard's Marina in Johns Pass. He knew all about it, had me covered. So they're running about 110, 130 miles out past the 40 break. They're fishing for snowy grouper, yellow edge, kitty mitchells, barrelfish, tilefish. He said if you see anything fishy on your machine, fish it. And he said a good machine is a must out that deep, which makes a lot of sense. For baits, they're using squid strips, bonita strips, anything that's stinky, oily, stays on the hook really well. A lot of people out there doing the slow pitch jig thing too. That's become really, really popular out there. Electric reels, I don't think it's a bad idea, but there's those purists who like the old-fashioned way, hand cranking, in 500 to 1,000 foot of water. He did give me this cool little snowy grouper fact that I thought was really kind of neat. I didn't know this. Most of the snowy grouper you catch, they average 30 years old or older. Very slow growers out there. And when he kind of explained it to me, it made sense. Really dark down there, right? Limited food, so it takes them a while to get big. Here's a nice picture of a snowy grouper they caught on a recent trip out of Hubbard's Marina. Good looking fish. It's a neat place out there. I've done it a couple times. It's really cool, but I'm not that good at it. But red grouper, that's our other offshore species. Good reports of red grouper this week out of St. Pete, Clearwater, all the way up north into Crystal River. Captain Clay Scheidler up there, Hingham High Charters, reported 120 to about 160 foot, producing the best over the hard bottom. Big live baits have been best with some cut bonita strips. That's working pretty good as well. They always seem to be where the bait is, and red grouper don't seem to be far from a meal. So if you're seeing a ton of bait on your machine, fish that spot. If you're not seeing a ton of bait and you want to catch a big fire truck, might be better to move on a little bit. Inshore, we're snook fishing this week. The summer beach bite picked up a little bit. It was a little slow the last couple of weeks, but it got a little better this week. Lots of big snook still cruising up and down the beaches. St. Pete Beach all the way, Caladesi Island, Anclote Key. I was fishing the passes. A lot of guys fishing the passes or just inside the passes. Any kind of structure, docks, jetties, bridges, moving water and structure near the passes were the key. Anything that created that ambush point. And then, we had some slower tides because we came off that moon. So it was, kind of that pinch point. That water kind of picks up pace through there a little bit, and that just seemed to do the trick. That's where we had some of our best bites all week. Live baits, thread fins, pinfish, grunts are all getting bit. Cut bait will work, but when I'm in the passes, I like to use the live bait. That's kind of what I prefer. Up towards Homosassa, Crystal River, fish those points and passes near those outside barrier islands. Got a great report from Dallas King up there. He said that bite was really good. A lot of fish holding on those islands up there. Live pinfish also doing the trick up there towards Crystal River. Here's a nice big snook caught at Crystal River with Captain Dallas King. This was caught on a live tail-hooked pinfish.
Nice.
And then my other inshore Spanish mackerel, buddy. The Spanish mackerel bite has been really, really good. We got a lot of fry bait around. It's out off the beach. It's in the shipping channel here in Tampa Bay. You work those bait schools. All you got to do is look for the birds. If you find the birds, you're going to find those schools. There's a ton of fish in them. There's some big jacks running with them. There's some sharks running with them. You might want to run some long shank hooks or something just to, maybe step up your fluorocarbon leader just to slow down those cutoffs, something 30 or 40 pound gear. But there's a lot of fish out there, the birds, the action. It's a pretty good bite. So if you find those schools, you'll find the action.
All right, I got a question for you, big man. One, I want you to tell me about the radio show. When can I listen to it? And I want to tell everybody how they can find it, please.
I appreciate you. We're actually twice a week. Saturdays, we're on 970 WFLA. You can catch it on the iHeart radio app's probably the best way. 970 WFLA, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Saturday. Sunday mornings, we're on 95.7 WDAE and AM 620. Again, also on the iHeart radio app. That Sunday morning show is from 7 to 9 a.m. And, we'd love to have the listeners. People can call in, ask questions, and we try to help them out the best we can.
Well, we're grateful that you've been filling in for Jeff Hageman this year. You've done a great job. Appreciate all your hard work every week, and especially this week doing homework. But I got to go ahead and take a look at the
session, Mike.
Yes, it. Discover Crystal River hotspots from the Northwest region. Mike says inshore redfish, fish from the Homosassa North, Yankeetown, working mullet schools on the outside barrier bars. Target the first of the outgoing tide with live tail hook pinfish. And then offshore, the cobia Fish the nearshore rock piles in 20 to 80 feet of water from Crystal River North to Cedar Key. Lots of keeper-sized fish running in pairs. Live pinfish work best, but you can also throw big paddle tails or bucktail jigs to get those cobes.
All right, Rick. Well, we started from the bottom. Now we're here. Yeah? No?
Yeah, we hear. What was that?
Never mind.
I ain't following
Different generation. And I think our reels are thankful to finally be back at the surface too. But don't go anywhere. Seize the Socials coming up. Plus, we'll find out what we're fishing for next week. Stay with us.
Okay.
Happy Jimbo at the CCA workbench.
He's over there eating process.
Really?
Get ready to cast off into the world of adventure with our exclusive line of fishing shirts and hats, inspired by your favorite fishing shows. Designed for the dedicated angler in you, our high-performance gear is guaranteed to keep you cool and comfortable. Join the ranks of your favorite fishing pros and reel in the excitement. Be an insider, fish like a pro, dress like a legend. Shop your favorite brands of Sportsman's Adventures, Florida and Texas Insider Fishing Reports today at store.rmmedia.com.
Hey fish fans, tell all your fishing buddies that you can now stream your favorite fishing shows anytime with Pursuit Plus. Watch full episodes of Sportsman Adventures, Florida and Texas Insider Fishing Report on demand whenever you want. Whether you're looking for fishing action, reports, tips, or the latest conditions, it's all in one place. Sign up today at PursuitPlusTV.com for just $4.99 with promo code RickPlus and never miss another bite. All right, gentlemen and ladies, next week we're talking snook. So make sure to tune in. That's going to be awesome. All right, gentlemen, so this is the part of the Seize the Social part of the show.
Yes.
And sometimes you're lucky and sometimes you have skills. So let's see what this gentleman has on Seize the Social this week.
Okay.
Well, it's a looking like.
Wow.
He's got the skills and the luck, or something
Is he fishing
else.
an umbrella rig or something?
He fishing an Alabama umbrella rig, same thing, man. But you throw that in a big school of bull redfish, guess what?
That's pretty cool.
If you get it back.
That's pretty cool. That
They're all
was
going different directions.
Hey,
experimentation right there.
Prosec just loaded up the cooler for us. They sent me a box this big. What do you want?
Let's do some bison sticks from Prosec's. That's kind of my favorite, or whatever you can find. Oh, everyone gets Prosec's. Everyone gets Prosec's. Oh, here we go.
What did you say you wanted?
Here we go. Anything. That one.
Oh,
yes.
bison.
Perfect.
Here it is. I just want to make sure I got the right one for you.
Perfect. This is Prosec's, everybody. Jimbo, thank you for joining us for this lovely
I'm
show.
here for the bison sticks again.
Here for the
of course
meat.
you're here.
Great. Awesome. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thank you to our live studio audience, and we'll see you all next week. Instead of Harry Potter move there.